How old, how young? How old, how young? That is always the question. Hello, what's going on? It's the Tai Chi dude. What's going on, people? I hope you're doing well. We're in the holidays at the season, during the season, but it's all good. Yeah, well, it is. I mean, what's so bad about it? Anyways, hope you're doing well. How young, how old? How old, how young? That's a question that I receive often. Am I too old to study martial arts? Am I too young to study martial arts? And I'm going to give you a bit of a guideline here, which I hope helps, just to reintroduce who I am. My name is Instructor Carlo. I've been in the martial arts for over 15 years. I've taught martial arts for over 10, 12 years. As far as experience, primarily my background's in Kung Fu and Tai Chi. My area of expertise lies in self-defense, general self-defense, as well as, I also want to have a nice background here as well. General self-defense as well as basic grappling skills. How old, how young? I'm like jumping around here, and I've taught at formal schools, and I've taught privately, and I've had different teaching settings, and I can say, especially here in the United States. So first thing I want to start off with is how young. I personally started my kids off at 6 months, right? As soon as they were able to punch, and they still train in martial arts now. But a general guideline, a general rule of thumb for me, if students are able to do martial arts at an earlier age, we will accept them at an earlier age. I believe that at 5 years old is a good age to start. Any age below or younger than that is more, the classes, in my personal opinion, and based on my experience, should be geared towards developmental skills, running, jumping, basic movements, and really just getting that energy out. The parents would appreciate you. If a child is 3 years old and they're showing or showcasing skills at an exemplary level, or they're just above where their peers are at, or they just seem ready to start training, then 3 years old, we would start incorporating them into the class. That's fine. Okay, but a good rule of thumb is 5 years old for the cutoff, and then 3 years old for a toddler program, and anything less than that, they just, it's just based on development. They should just focus on growing, right? Or again, focus on developmental skills. I find that between 8 and 12 is a good age for the students to become more serious. Okay, I want to say even before then, even at the age of 7, okay, from 7 to 12 is a good time frame for students to become more serious. From the age of 13 on up, there's more of either the will to do it, or they're, it's part of their routine and they're learning the discipline. But there's more of a structure between 7 and 12, 7 and 13. That's when most parents will get their children into martial arts and have them go through the rankings so that they earn their titles, their belt rankings, and really build up that self-confidence. Now, from 13 to 20, and I would say even to 24, it's really a personal decision. I want to split up 2 age groups. 13 to 18, you're going through a lot of different changes. You don't know what the future may hold. Some individuals, depending on what you plan to do after high school, that's going to play a factor. When you reach adulthood, when you're an adult, you want to learn how to protect yourself. You want to be able to stand up, obviously, for yourself if need be. So then that's where the training comes in. That's where, you see a lot of individuals decide to do something more direct, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or boxing, something that's, once again, contains all that you need in a martial arts program, on top of being able to help you learn how to defend yourself quickly and effectively. And so I'm just giving you a timeline. Me personally, I started training in the martial arts at the age of 24. And I want to tell you why it's not too late if you're in your 20s or 30s or your 40s or 50s, okay? So I started at the age of 24. I had an interest in martial arts since the age of 8. And when I was 12 or 13, I taught myself, but didn't have the arena, didn't have the medium to practice these movements and ingrain them and really make martial arts a lifelong, right? Not lifelong, but ingrain it into yourself. When I was able to go to college, okay, this is where the 18 on up and being an adult really does count, right? Because you get to make those decisions in terms of where your life goes. Nobody's going to make that for you. If you want to study martial arts, you can do it. You can pay for it. You can work for it. And that's what I did. Actually, I used a class project opportunity. We had to teach a class about something, and this is another thing. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was actually the first formal self-defense lesson that I ever took, because I had a friend in the class, one of my group partners knew someone who was training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, had gone against wrestlers, and despite your past and things like that, but this is my first time encountering Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a Kung Fu practitioner. I've never had any problems with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've never had any problems with grappling or wrestling or anything like that. I've always, I seem to adapt very well to both, okay? But there's, people can lean one way or the other. Some people are more stand-up, some people are more grappling. But that was my first introduction into grappling and actually learning how to get up off the ground, right? That was one of the first movements I always wanted to learn, was how do you escape from the mount, okay? From my personal experience of being put in the mount position and having to defend myself and not knowing how. Looking at how, I'm gonna wrap this up and then go into studying when you're older. Looking at how how life presents us all with different opportunities at different times. You may not have the opportunity when you're younger. That I understand. That's actually another reason why I like to promote martial arts and accessibility, and being able to provide martial arts to people of any income level, any background, okay? I think that's very important, being able to access these strategies that can help enrich your life and protect yourself and your families. But that's a big reason why I enjoy teaching, and really just any way you can get access to lessons. I did a video earlier about explaining how now you have YouTube videos and there's so many different resources. Any resource you can use would be fantastic. As far as how old you should be, and I'll probably tell this story again later, it's up to you, okay? Tai Chi was designed for adults, especially recognizing the fact that we do age, and as we age, we can still be able to defend ourselves and still maintain power. So that's where the training comes from. That's how the martial arts has developed. From my personal story, and this is what always keeps me motivated. There was a fellow Wushu student who was training in the adult class, and this is when I was training in Wushu, one of the first long fist Wushu and contemporary Wushu. Right, this is one of the first martial arts styles that I started training in. This is where I base my kicks out of. I think the kicks and training is fantastic. And once again, you have to adapt what you learn. And so this person, this individual, had a child who was training, and they were training as well. And one day I decided to ask the individual, I politely, asked them what their age was, and they told me they were 58 years old. And I was just amazed. They looked 18, 20 years younger, and you would have never guessed it. Okay, so I'm going to get into another video in terms of how martial arts helps you to keep longevity and vitality. And we haven't done any studies, but maybe it does help you to keep looking good, and takes years off your life from how you look. So again, let me talk like this so you can see my okay, so again, this person said they were 58. I was amazed. I was blown away. And ever since then, I've always used them as a model. And this is why I say everybody can be an influence in your life. I've always used them as an influence. For me, I'm in my 40s now, early 40s. And when I get into my 50s, to know that it's not a matter of age, okay? Because you can be in your 50s and still doing Wushu jumps. And if you can't, that's okay. There's other martial arts you can do. But to know that there's someone out there, and it's also taught me, I get called Unk, right? Funny because I'm a dad. And but I love it, right? I love the phrase. I'm 100% with it, okay? But to be the guiding force for the younger generation, to let you know that you can do it and you can have a great life, and you don't have to get all old and decrepit just to be plain and simple, because that's the idea, right? You get old in age, and it's supposed to be a horrible process. And Tai Chi and training in martial arts has taught me, no, that's not the case. That doesn't have to be the case. You can decide. So hopefully you find this talk inspirational, informational, and inspirational, and educational, and it serves its purpose and helps you to develop your martial arts, helps you to decide to study martial arts if you've kind of been on the fence in terms of you're too young or you're too old. Or my advice is just start and you'll be just fine. Have a great day. I will see you soon.